Make sure. All right. All right. So, wow, I'm looking at. I got that gray in my beard. Wow, look at that. Anyway, we're gonna talk about today the rule of the wicked, in a sense, how long they will rule, or basically the rule of the wicked and their system that they have set up. Now, it's important because when I think about the article and the new attack they have against us as a people, where you have they're putting in the books now to beware of the black identity extremists. Yeah, extreme black identity. Now it's amazing how all of a sudden now they coming at anybody that's trying to claim something with identity. And that's the main thing that we have lost and the main thing that we're working for to try to find out what it is. In the midst of that, now they're setting up laws on the books against black identity extremists. So that's like, that lets you see that things have been set up for years. And you got to look at, man, when you think about the Most High, that 24/7 he can see wickedness. Now we can see wickedness in our own little scale. We look at it on the news when we hear about it, but it ain't before our face 24/7 continuously. We wouldn't be able to take it. I know I would. But think about it, him being able to see this wickedness all day 24/7 a day and looking at this thing. And then, we wondering like, man, I can't wait to be free. I can't wait to go back to the land. I can't wait to get back in Jerusalem. I can't wait till the Messiah come back. Because when you think about all this wickedness, I was looking at the video. Somebody sent me a video about what was going on with the people in Libya. And about how the Arabs and different ones, man, they just selling them into slavery. They beating them. I mean, they showed me one video. It was hard to take where they had one of the guys tied up, and I mean, they was just beating him unmercifully with a pole, just banging his head in, hitting his back. He trying to move, and then somebody had a sharp knife at the time, and they just took the knife and just started daggering and stabbing the man in the back. And it's always for no reason. But for the simple point is, I'm a slave, he a slave, and I'm an oppressor. They have no reason to do the people like that. But the people over there, in Libya, and it's the whole situation, man. I'm looking like, man, what can be done? But you gotta look at the Most High is looking at all this wickedness, all this crazy stuff that's going on. And the issue is it really laying to our heart? Are we really paying attention of the different things that's going on? So let's get Psalms chapter 2, and then we're going to get Psalm 73. Because Psalm 73 is a good example of a person getting upset and tired of seeing the oppressors ruling and the things they have set up. And that's why I tell you, you have to be careful that you don't go too far in. It's all right to be studying stuff like, the Illuminati and different things like that, to look at their plans, but if you dig and you look too much all the time, you will end up getting fearful. Right. And you'll act like everything they got planned is going to happen. When it don't work like that. If everything they had planned was going to happen, it would have been happening by now. We'll be completely out of here. But because of the Most High long suffering with us, sometimes he comes in and distract their plans and different things like that until we can get to a point of repentance. Because like the scripture say, the whole earth is waiting on the manifestation of the sons. The earth, seriously, I'm talking about the earth itself, is waiting to yield us its fruit. It's waiting for it to have its Sabbaths again. And when we're back in the right place with the right mind. So everything is really contingent upon your repentance. All right, so let's read Psalms chapter 2 and see what you have.
Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
Oh, so why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? So the heathen right now is going crazy. They're doing all kind of insane stuff, all type of crazy stuff. And but the people are still imagining a vain thing. So how would we look at that as one of the vain things that they could be imagining? Or the main vain thing?
The eugenics program.
Eugenics program. Uh-huh. But what's vain about the imagination of the people while all this crazy stuff is going on?
They imagine they can undo the Most High's plan.
Exactly. They imagine that they can undo the Most High plan. That all is going to be well. That everything is going to be all right. That America and all this type stuff is going to skip judgment and ain't nothing going to happen to them. Everything is going to be okay. That is very vain. Because if America get away, you got to bring back up Sodom and Gomorrah. You got to bring back up Babylon. You got to bring back up Persia. You got to bring all these nations that destroyed the children of Israel back up. So he's going to get down for their wickedness. But today we're going to go through some of the characters, not characters, but actual people in the Bible, look at their spirit and see how it relates to the system. And then get to what the Most High is going to do. So let's go to Psalm 73 now. Let's start at Let's just start at verse 1.
A psalm of Asaph. Truly God is good to Israel. Truly Elohim is good to Israel, even to such as are of a clean heart. But as for me, my feet were almost gone. My steps had well nigh slipped. For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked.
I was envious. Now that's one thing going to be known among us. We'll get envious of the foolish because we've seen the prosperity of the wicked. Now you got the weighted precept there that a lot of people don't know, but we did a teaching about that before. When you go to Romans 11, and it talks about the salvation going to the Gentiles to do what? To provoke them. Provoke who? Us to jealousy. That's not a spiritual salvation right there at all. That ain't not talking about a spiritual salvation that the nation fall, that salvation can come to the Gentiles. When you really look that up and really look up what salvation means, it means wealth, it means prosperity, it means being in right standing. So salvation in the mind of a Hebrew is what? Being back in their land and receiving the promises that was declared upon their generation. That means I'm having all the wealth, I'm above every nation, I'm ruling in righteousness, I have no fear. You can go to, I think, Luke chapter 1 and read down from verse 65 on down to 70, on down through 70 and see what salvation is in the mind of a Hebrew. Or go to our YouTube channel and read Romans 11 or salvation in the mind of a Hebrew. But when you understand that, when Israel began to look at the salvation in the sense of the right standing, because right now the heathen are in their salvation. They are in their salvation. I'm not talking about a spiritual awakening. I'm not talking about a born again experience. I'm talking about the salvation of having their commonwealth, having their kingdom here, and not wanting for nothing. Dwelling in safety. Nobody can come against them. We got to go to their stores. We got to buy. They own all the stores. They own the car lots. They own all these things. They the head and not the tail. Bottom line. They're above and not beneath. Who the tail? We the tail. The tail does what? It goes wherever the head goes to and have no say-so about the decision on where it's going. So when you look at that, I ain't got time right now to do a teaching on what salvation is, but you can find that out when it's talking about there. So it's important to understand that the nations are in their salvation in the sense where they talk about their rulership. Everywhere you see in the natural sense the salvation of Israel, it always bringing up the promises which are declared that they would be kings, they would be rulers, they would be head, they would lend to other nations and not borrow. All those things exemplify what? It exemplifies what salvation is in their mind. So now you got to realize that these people are coming from breaking the covenant. When they was in covenant in David's time, They was ruling. They had all the wealth. They had all the wisdom. They had all the insight. Nobody touched them. There was no harm to them. They were in their salvation at that time. But when they broke the covenant, through Solomon, all those things happened. Now they're looking at all these other nations that's ruling over them. And what is it doing? Provoking them to what? Jealousy. Because what? I know one time our generation had this.
Yes.
And the same thing on today. We're looking at, you go places, we're like, man, they got $1 billion building.
Right.
And we working with these little matchbox buildings that we can work with. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking about when you look at everything as a nation as a whole.
Right.
So it's important to understand when the Bible talks about, in some instances, when it's talking about a natural salvation and when it's talking about a born again reawakening of your spirit, being born from above but not beneath. That's a difference with the salvation of what? Your soul and spirit versus the salvation in the natural, which is your kingship, your rulership, your being able to, that's why the Most High said he wanted to deliver the children of Israel out of Egypt so they can do what? Worship him. So whenever you getting delivered from something, you getting delivered to something. I'm going to say that again. Whenever you getting delivered from something, you getting delivered to something. So they got delivered from Egypt to go to what? The promised land. So every instance in your life when you get delivered from whatever it is, if it's bad attitude, if it's pornography, if it's anger issues, and you got delivered from that, what are you getting delivered to? What? Fruits of the Spirit. Love, peace, joy. So whatever I'm struggling with, and I get delivered from it, I got to see what I'm heading towards or what. I stay in that state and this thing will jump back on me. So whenever I get delivered from something, the Most High is bringing me into something. All right? So Psalm 73 is what we all do sometimes. Look at what? The wealth of the nations and get provoked to jealousy. Because they ain't doing nothing right. They singing provocative, covenant-breaking songs. They doing everything wicked and they ain't struggling at all. Now their soulless man might be empty, but everything that they have, we seeking for. We just want a little extra money. It happen when income tax time comes. We got a little extra money now. We can be the head and not the tail with the income tax money. And then in 3 months, we provoke back to jealousy. We right back, getting provoked to jealousy. Until what? We can get in our salvation and don't have to worry about none of these things. And that's what it talks about also in Luke chapter 1, starting at 65 all the way down. It talks about salvation as being able to serve the Most High without fear. Now we can't. You walk up to somebody right now at this time, during the holiday season, they're going to tell you, Merry Christmas, all that. You can't tell them nothing about Passover. You can't tell them nothing about the Feast of Dedication. You can't tell them nothing about Tabernacle. They'll look at you crazy. And it's like a sort of fear in that, in a sense. Because what? All this rejection coming. You see what I'm saying? And you can't even stand on what you believe. Because what? Everybody gonna look at you crazy. Why? Because you're not able to serve the Most High without fear. That's salvation in the Hebrew mind. All right? So let's keep reading. Read that again. Verse 3.
For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked.
Keep going. Verse 4.
For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm.
No bands in their death, and their strength is firm. Showing it don't seem like they die in mass numbers. But the poor die in what? Mass numbers, because a band is like a grouping of people. But us, we dying by the totem pole. And we trying to do right. Keep reading.
They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasses them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes stand out with fatness. They have more than the heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. Therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doth God know? I'm sorry. And they say, how doth Elohim know? And is their knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches. Verily I have cleansed my heart in vain and washed my hands in innocence.
All right.
Okay.
Keep going.
For all the day long have I been plagued and chastened every morning.
These folks chastening me every morning. Now these folks in captivity, and they messing with them every day. Every morning they getting chastised. Keep going, verse 15.
If I say I will speak thus, behold, I shall offend against the generation of thy children. When I thought to know this, it was too painful for me, until I went into the sanctuary of Elohim. Then understood I their end.
Wait a minute. Stop right there. I was distracted. I was hurt. I was looking at their prosperity and looking like we all was always spoiled. So I did what? Went into the sanctuary to the gathering and did what? Learned their what? End. So when I learned their end and my end, now I can rejoice now. Because I know what the end is going to be. You see what I'm saying? So let's keep reading.
Surely thou didst set them in slippery places.
They're in slippery places, even though they got the money, but their soulish realm tore up. They can't never completely grip onto marriage. Their marriages and all that stuff is breaking up. Why? Because what? They get it by unlawful gain. You see what I'm saying? Every time they get with somebody, that's why in Hollywood, they switch people like buckets. This week they got somebody. 2 months later, they got somebody else. 6 months later, they got somebody else. A year later, they found somebody else. And they be the most beautiful people now. Your so-called Halle Berrys, your so-called Jolene's, all of them. Everything they try to grab on, they slip off. They have what? No inward peace. That's why they can be millionaires and still what? Jumping off of buildings. But we doing what? We just looking at their prosperity. Because we know at one time we had those things. Now you got to remember somebody coming from Solomon and kingdom and now in captivity. And then look at how these folks ruling is going to do what? Provoke them to what? Jealousy. All right, keep going.
Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation? As in a moment they are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awakens. So, O Most High, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I, and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee.
So he really understood what he was struggling with and found out, you know what? I was foolish for coming at the Most High like that. Because what? I didn't keep the end in my mind. Because what does the Most High do? He declared what? The end from the beginning. And the ending of a thing is always greater than what? The beginning of a thing. So the earth ain't seen what it's going to be like in the end. I don't care what David had. I don't care what Solomon had. And was nobody on earth rich as Solomon. Right. Nobody in history had it what the thing Solomon had. And that ain't going to be none compared to what when we get there. Nothing. Because the scripture said, I ain't seen, is I heard, neither has it entered into the heart of man. In your imagination, the things I have what? Prepared for them that do what? Love me. How do we know? How do we show we love him?
We keep his commandments.
Keep his commandments. And also keep what? Commandments, law, statutes, and commandments. But where law, statutes, and commandments make us let us get in there completely. His word. Who say it again? The faith of who? The Messiah. The faith of the Messiah and testimony.
He is the word.
He is the word. He is the word. So he's the word demonstrated. Y'all don't be fighting about that. All y'all getting good answers.
I'm just saying.
The sister got the answer right. Y'all got to let her have that. But look at it. You got to remember, like we said, you got to keep the faith. And you got to have the Ruach, which is the spirit. You can't just try to turn around and go straight to law. Because you still be trying to live out law and with your carnal nature. And that's why you'll be wearing fringes but still cussing people out. You'll be wearing fringes but still fighting people. You'll be wearing fringes and still trying to do what? Speak evil of your brother behind their back. Because why? You don't have no what? Ruach. So the Spirit does what? The Spirit allows you and leads and guides you into all truth and allows you to walk out the fruit of the Spirit as you grow. Because if you go just straight back to law, straight off the streets with no nature change, you'll be just like a lot of the camps out there. All right, so let's keep going. So we are going to, let's see here. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4. Now we know that the wicked is ruling. We know what's going on and it's aggravating. And like I said before, you look at the Most High, he's able to see this wickedness 24/7. It's sad. Yeah, he got to sit there and look at this all day long. These folks committing evils. And can you imagine looking at somebody getting raped minute upon minute, looking at a child getting killed minute upon minute, looking at a child being sacrificed or aborted minute upon a minute, looking at brothers killing and stabbing each other, men killing and stabbing their wives, wives killing and stabbing their husband, mass shooting, mass killings. What's going on in Libya now? People trafficking people, selling people. All this type of wickedness is forever before his face. But what? He can't completely judge it into a time period. That's what? He don't get emotional like we get emotional. You see what I'm saying? He moved off what? His word, not his emotion. So even though it seems bad, he sees their end and he laugh at their now. I'm going to say that again. The Most High see their end and he laugh at their now. And he said what? In Proverbs, I'm going to mark you when you call for me. I'm going to mark you and I'm going to laugh at you at your end. So that's why he ain't nothing to play with. He's the most righteous judge. And yeah, and we're going to see how ruthless he is too. Because he's going to come back. Why is he coming back so mad? Why he sending Messiah and Messiah is upset? Messiah ain't coming back talking about turn no other cheek.
All the cheeks been touched by then.
He gonna come back destroying. Well, why is he so mad? Because what? All the wickedness that is on the earth. All right, so now let's go to Genesis chapter 4 real quick. Now what we're gonna do, I did this before, but I want to go through this in this lesson because now we're going to look at the rule of the wicked. We're gonna look at this system. So we're gonna look at different men in the scriptures and take their negative characteristics and show how this is a part of a beast system that we facing every day. Some of y'all done heard this before, but I wanted to put this on so I can add the rest of it on there. Anybody hot? Yeah, I can turn that fan on if you want to. All right, so now let's look at just turn it on. Just let it swing around. All right, now let's look at this. Let's look at Cain. Now we know that Satan or Hasatan, he got kicked out of his dwelling place. We know that he said he's going to be what? Like the Most High. So he's setting up a system through men. And every time that he set up another part of his system is because somebody felt like they was done wrong. And they got enmity against the Most High about it. So now let's look at Cain. Let's look at what spirit Cain was of and how that spirit is going throughout this system that we're dealing with. Let's look at Genesis chapter 4. And if anybody have it, they can go and start reading. 4 and 1. 4 and 1. I'm sorry.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife.
All right, go ahead.
And Adam knew Eve, his wife. And she conceived and bare Cain.
So what happened right then? Adam did what? He knew.
Eve, his wife.
And who came out?
Cain.
Okay, keep going.
And said, I have begotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel. And Abel was a keeper of sheep. But Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground and offered unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering.
So what in the world they doing offerings now and ain't no law?
Okay.
How in the world they doing offerings, sacrifices? Because you got grain offering sacrifices, you got burnt offerings, and you got what? Animal sacrifice. We see a grain offering here, which is from the ground, and we see an animal sacrifice. But what are they doing this for? If it ain't no law that was set up that was passed down from Adam and Eve. Why would they cover themselves with coats of skin, which was the animal, had to die? Because what? Sin came in. So there was what? Offerings to the Most High then. But it wasn't codified for a nation yet. It was passed down from the father to the family and throughout the earth. You see what I'm saying? But we see offerings was already here. So something in the beginning can't be done away with because it was so-called Moses' law, even though Moses ain't right, it ain't come up with the laws himself. It came from the mind of the Most High. Right or wrong?
Right.
All right, let's keep going.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance failed. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted. If thou dost not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
Wait a minute. You're going to rule over who? Read that again. Where we at, verse 9?
Verse 7.
Read it again.
If thou
Read verse 6.
And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted?
So if you do well, what does that mean? If you do what I told you to do, if you do my commandment, your countenance wouldn't be had failed.
Right.
So that lets you know to do well was to do what? Obey. What does obedience is? It has to be what? Instructions there to obey. So if he did and obeyed the instructions, everything would have went well with him. But what would be lying at the door if you don't do the instructions? What it says.
And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at
Wait a minute! How is sin lying at the door with no instructions?
Yes.
Because only by the law did I know what? Sin. And sin is what? Transgression of what?
law.
So the law is not, we can even really get rid of the term law and let it be instructions. So if you would have did the instructions or what I commanded you to do, you would have did well. But because you disobeyed it, it ain't go well with you. Now your countenance fail. What happens to us when we disobey? Our countenance fail. We start feeling sorry. We start feeling all that condemnation and all that letting you know what? It was law then.
Okay, yes.
Let's keep going.
And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him.
So this talking about sin. Until he will be his desire, and you shall rule over him.
Right.
All right, so we're gonna start right there because we're gonna skim through some things. All right, so we see the first inception here is the enemy needed somebody to work through, so he chose who? Cain. He told Cain that in so many words he can offer up what he desired to offer up, not what the Most High commanded, but he can do what he desired to do, and still think that the Most High will what? Accept it. Do we do that today?
Yes.
We think we can worship him whatever way we want to worship. The same spirit of Cain, what? Working in us. What is that? Self-willed worship. Having what? An idol in my mind and say, well, I don't care what he said. I'm going to do what I want to do. And he'll accept that. He's understanding. He cool with me doing it like this. Wait a minute. He already showed you his what? Form of worship. But you want to go outside of it and do what?
Your own thing.
I don't want to wait till the Feast of Tabernacles to celebrate. I want to wait till Christmas, December the 25th. Because that's when he was born. Really? No.
Nimrod's birthday.
That's Nimrod's birthday. The winter solstice. But if I make it about him, it'll still be accepted. He has what? His own form of worship. So what would be one of the main things what in the enemy's beast system is what? do what thy will.
That's that house.
That ain't come from just Aleister Crowley. That came from Cain. You see what I'm saying? Do what thy will shall be what? The whole of your law. Because what? The Most High told Cain what? He told them to be fruitful and do what? Multiply. But Cain, what? He left that and what? Built a city. And put everybody within that city and put himself as ruler over those people in that city. Rather than being fruitful and multiplying. So we see now, through the character of Cain, we see what in this system. And we see it every day. Self-will worship. I want to do what's right in my own eyes. You see that on every level. You see that in the secular world, and you see that in the so-called church world or Christian world. Completely. Self-will worship. Doing what I want to do. You see that even in children. Where you got to beat that out of them. With the rod. Because what? They want to tell mama, your nose is done away with, parents. Since I was born, that's a new law. The father law don't matter no more. All I got to do is say I believe I got a mama and daddy. And I'm good to go.
I guess that makes sense.
I guess that makes sense. All right, so we see Cain. Right? So now let's keep moving. So we already see in this system, the B system is what? Self-will worship, serving God the way they want to serve God. Or serving whatever creator they want to create. All right? So let's look at the next thing. I got to get to the notes sheet. Let's go in Genesis 10. And also, Cain said, am I my brother's keeper? That means not having love for your brother. There's another thing. Not loving each other, not caring, only being about yourself, being self-willed about you and yours. What blessing can I get in it? What's going to be my blessing package? I'm praying just for me and mine. I don't care nothing about the kingdom. I don't care nothing about the community. I don't care about nobody else's children but mine. I ain't my brother's keeper. So we see that mindset is in this system. Now let's go to Nimrod. I ain't finna. I tell you what. Genesis 10, 8 and 9. Somebody read that for me.
And Cush begat Nimrod.
And Cush begat Nimrod. We know all the. I don't know. I shouldn't have to say this, but they're coming out with every movie. Cush was a man of color. Nimrod was a man of color. Right. Let's keep going.
He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High. Before it is said, even as Nimrod, the mighty hunter before the Most High. All
right, so when you look up that, when you look at mighty hunter, when you can look that word up, you'll see tyrant. And when it says mighty hunter before the Lord, it's really, when you look it up, saying mighty hunter against the Lord. So that's what it's really showing you. That Nimrod, not the Most High, but Hasatan, he had the spirit of Cain operating and the spirit of himself. Now he needed a rebellious spirit. So now he had what? A human vehicle through what? Who? Nimrod. When Nimrod began to lift himself up as a god, lift himself up as a ruler, and his rulership was against the Most High. Completely. And what he would do, he would compete for the souls of men. We'll do a whole teaching on Nimrod one day, but we're trying to go through this now. His whole ideology. Let's go to Genesis 11. His whole ideology was to overthrow the judgment of God. So when he talked about we're going to build a tower to reach the heavens, he wasn't necessarily thinking of building no tower. He's going to walk right up in the heaven. That wasn't necessarily what he was saying. But he was building a monument or a tower that just in case, because they had came from the flood. So just in case the Most High tried to do what? Put another flood in the earth, they would have a tower over their flood in order to what? Overthrow his judgment in defiance to him. So everywhere that the Most High judged them, he was trying to create things to overthrow their judgment. Even also when it comes to when they would sin, that they would have consequences for their sin. And it would be within their heart, within their spirit, within their bodies. And he was the first one that came up with the inception of medicine. And this is why medicine is called what? I forgot the name of it. Pharmakia, which is sorcery. He was the one that learned the sorceries from who? The fallen angels. They came down and what? Taught men how to live, how to sin and live above the consequences of sin. Because all these sins that you did back then, it will reflect on your body, reflect in different areas to show what? You messing up. But if I give you medicine, you won't think about the things you're doing. Just the same now. We go to the hospital right now. We know we eating everything that's terrible against the Most High. And when diseases show up in our body, where we go to who? The sorcerers. And the sorcerers show it. It don't allow us to look at our own inconsistencies. What it make us do? Well, you know I'm all right. I take this medicine. I'm good. I can do what I want to do.
Give me another pork chop.
Give me another pork chop. Even though your body is trying to show you going against what's been created to go in it. But you will overthrow that through what? Pharmakia, sorcery, medicine. All right, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. So now we see what? A rebellious spirit also in this system. We got through Cain, self-worship, self-will, and we got rebellion through Nimrod. And the next thing you'll see Ishmael, and I'm just going to go through these. You look at Genesis 21, 6 through 14, read it on your own time. You'll see Ishmael begin to do what? Mock Isaac, even though Isaac was the promised seed. But he will mock him growing up. How does that relate to this system? You have what? Your scoffers. And you have so many scoffers now that's mocking what? The promises in what? The book. Because the promises was given to what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and on down the line. So you have these other group of people that's coming in. Everybody coming against the scripture. Everybody mocking, saying the Bible ain't real. The Bible ain't right. It's been plagiarized. It's the white man book. Don't look into it. People that's been researching and looking into it for years now what? Giving up because what they listen to a man without their own research. And because he sound good, they got something within their heart that they don't want to fulfill in the scriptures. So they find a reason to what? Leave it. All I needed is to somebody to give me some wisdom and insight so I can have an excuse to be like, this is wrong. So what? Now my heart can fall to sin. They don't want that Bible to be true. Because it's consequences. All right. So now let's go to the next. So we see what? Through Cain. Self what? Self-will, self-worship. What we seen through Nimrod? Pharmakia, medicine, and what? What's the biggest thing? Rebellion. Defiance against the Most High. We went to Ishmael. He's a wild man. He's going around killing. So you got to have somebody in this system that don't care, go around just slaughtering and killing people and then mock them and mock the scriptures. We see that in Ishmael. So we see that spirit. Is all those spirits in this system that we face? All right, so now let's look at another thing that's in this system we facing. With Esau. What did Esau do? Now let me say this about Esau. Listen, you can't go down one bunny trail trying to make everybody that's white Esau. You can't. And you can't make everybody that's black Ham. Right? Esau made covenants with so many different nations that he mixed with them and became their nation. Back then, and those old days of the ancient East, when you would have an alliance with somebody, that king would give you their daughter, or they would give you somebody a prized possession of women that are in their kingdom. He began to mix with all these kingdoms, and once you search out Esau and see the kingdoms that he mixed with, then you will see it's a confederation of nations that he runs and that he rules. You see what I'm saying? You can't make it just all white because there's an agenda behind that. Now, am I saying that Esau ain't white people, some white people? No, I'm not saying that, because it is some Caucasians or Europeans that's Esau. But it's some people that look like me and you that are Esau. And some people look like the Saudi Arabians that are Esau. You see what I'm saying? So he mixed and see. But let's look at him. Esau did what? He gave, you look at Genesis 25, 29 through 34. I'm going to skim through this. Genesis 27, 32 through 40. Esau did what? He gave up his birthright because of his what? Appetite. So in this system will be appetite and seducing things. You got rebellion, you got self-worship, you got wildness, and you got mocking. But I need appetites. Because this is why you grow up in sin and develop appetites for certain things. My appetite might not be your appetite. That's why you got to study yourself and study that old man, because you'll be tried with what you had an appetite for. And most of the time, most people have what? Given up their birthright for appetites that they had spiritually. Whether it's sexual, whether it's you take a woman growing up without a father. What is she gonna have an appetite for? A father's love that would be exemplified in a man that she give herself to. So she'll go around for men and men allowing all these men to make deposits in her. Because why? She's looking for that love from her father. You see what I'm saying? And just because she got her head covered and a dress all the way down doesn't mean that she ain't got that appetite for that certain thing. So it's important to understand appetite-inducing things. Ain't never been a time with this much lust. Paul and them ain't have to deal with what we deal with. You talking about 24/7 toothbrush commercial, sexually induced. Hardee's hamburger, sexually introduced. Everything is about what? Trying to pull on that appetite. And if you don't surround yourself with the right type of people, you'll end up what back? Then sold your birthright. You done came way over here to the Israelite side, and that appetite still messed you up. Now you got over here talking about multiple wives and just then left your wife and trying to get with every woman you can. You ain't fit for no multiple wives. It ain't mean you supposed to be able to take care of both of them women. All of them. They ain't supposed to have no needs. They really ain't supposed to be working. If we really look at the prerequisite of what? Multiple wives. You see what I'm saying? So ain't nowhere in the world. You think all that is showing what? I got an appetite.
Right.
That I ain't got straight. That's the lust of the flesh. So it's important to look beyond what the lust of the flesh and sit your behind down somewhere. You can't take care of yourself. Talk about multiple wives. Man, go sit down somewhere. But anyway. I'm telling you, it's something. I joke with my wife all the time. I say, I ain't into no multiple wives now. Unless you into multiple wives. I'm just playing, y'all. Y'all, I'm just playing. All right, so let's keep moving, y'all. Let's keep moving. Oh, goodness. All right, so we look at all these type of things that's in this system, right? We done seen that we got the spirit of Cain, which is self-will and self-worship. We got who was after that? Nimrod, which is rebellion, which is overthrowing the judgment of God. And this is why you got whole doctrines now that say you ain't got to worry about it, nothing. Grace is gonna cover it all. You ain't got no judgment. You can do what you want to. That's the same spirit of Nimrod working, but a Babylonian system that has a Babylonian religion that speaks of no judgment, that you can do what? Do what thou will. Grace cover it all. That lets you know it identifying itself what? A part of the what? Babylonian system. That's why the Most High said in Revelation 18, come out of her, my people. Ishmael, wow, mockers, your Kemites, you got all these other, you got so many type of new things Another form of rebellion is they got, what was that other gender you told me about?
Trans ages.
Yeah, it ain't just transsexual, but a trans ages gender now, which means I don't want to be a grown up. A man called himself a 6-year-old girl and wanted to be adopted by a family.
The two old people that I think I seen him.
I think he was how he was, baby? He looked like he about 50 something. And had ponytails with a little dress on. Said, when we open the door to homosexuality. They march, they get their rights, they do what they want to do. The next group coming up is who? Pedophiles. Pedophiles. I was born like a little baby. We married. Then what? You gonna get the people out there that love what? Cows and Fido. I was born loving this cow, Betsy. That's my baby. Now I'm really a boy, but I'm really a girl. I'm really a girl. I was born a girl, but I'm really a boy. Then you got that come in. Now you got this foolishness of transgender. Now I'm 45, but I'm really 6 years old. But what you open, when I heard that, I said, I can't stand this wicked place, man. I can't stand it. And then we so stupid as government officials, we'll look at them and be like, well, let's research and see if that's true. Can maybe somebody can really be 6 years old in a 40-year-old body? Exactly. All right, so let's keep going. So now let's look at Psalms 83. Now we're going to get into the mindset of the oppressor real quick. And I'm going to run through this, and then we're going to look at their destruction. All right. Let's go. Psalms 83. Somebody can read that for me. Starting at verse 2. We finna get into the mind. Now we see the system that's working. Now we're going to look into their mindset or how they operate to be able to recognize they're part of this system. That's why, like I said, you can't look at one nation and try to identify this whole beast system. It's a system, a confederation. You got people in Israel that's part of this system. All right, let's read. 83 and 2.
For
we got to move.
Thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
So thy enemies, they making what, a tumult, which is like a revolt type of thing. They that hate thee have lifted up their head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
So when it talks about they that hate thee have lifted up their head, that means they have got a point of rulership. They lifted up their headship. Now they have a point of rulership. Well, now they done got to this rulership because what Israel is what have broken the covenant. Watch what they finna do since they have lifted up their head now. They don't do what?
They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
So come mean not just one person. Nations, let's come together to figure out a crafty counsel to be able to keep these people down. You'll be surprised that people sit behind closed doors to figure out how to keep down the powerless people. We powerless in a sense.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But they sit and craft behind crafted counsel. This is how they came up with black identity extremists. Right. Now they figure out what's a way that we can make this against them. Right. They are waking up to who they are. Now they're going to put their identity as part of what? The reason that we need to do what? Arrest them. Keep reading.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
So I'm finna wipe the memory of Israel completely away. I don't want them to have no track of understand to realize who they were and what they had before. And this is why the reason that we can look into some of the stuff that's in the Vatican, they got all this stuff hid. That's why I ain't studying these people that talk about the Bible. Ain't nobody in the Bible real. Messiah never walked the earth. There was never no Moses. There's never no Abraham. There was none of that. I ain't got. There's you here. Prophetically, lets me know that Abraham lived. My being here, walking out prophecy, let me know that Moses walked the earth. Let's keep going.
For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee.
So they consulted together with one consent, saying, okay, we're going to form an alliance. and come together, because we want to take the memory of these people, and as we take the memory of them away, we're going to bring out another people to bring in their stead to take their identity. That when people try to find out what's going to happen in prophecy, now the true memory of the true people going to be gone, and everybody going to chase this bunny trail looking at these people over here in Israel and try to fulfill prophecy that way and completely come up with wrong doctrines. Why? Because they got their eyes on the wrong people. So that's another way I can cut them off, take their memory away, have somebody replace them, and put all the prophecies towards them. And they will forever stay in a sense of ignorance, and the true memory of the people would be erased if it weren't for the Spirit awakening us now. Let's keep going. We got to move.
The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes.
Now look at all these people. That's why I'm saying you can't chase one bunny trail. You got Edom there. You got all these people form alliances, and people came together as one. Keep reading.
Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have holpen the children of Lot. Selah.
So now you see all these people, these families that have came together, these kingdoms came together, and they got you chasing one nation trying to find out who Esau is. And it's a confederation. It's a confederation. And we'll do a teaching on that one day. All right, so we see that. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Let's go. We see Psalms 83. Do you think that they stopped right there as far as this confederations getting together against Israel?
Oh, no.
So you see throughout the years, this began to build upon, and then you got even our own people selling us out. With all these movie stars, music artists, all this stuff is wickedness. They even know who we are, but for money, they'll sell us out to keep us in a constant state of breaking the covenant. You remember that Balaam, who? TD Jakes too. All them ones on TV like that get paid to make yourself run out the money rather than what prophecy is saying to the people, to the children of the promise. So it's important to look for those things and to watch those things, because all these things are set up as our problem is we just trust everybody. We just so trusting. Even though folks been deceiving us all our life, the next person that comes, we say, I know you go tell me the truth. We just trust everybody. Let's look at the mindset. Micah 2:2, I read it. Micah 2:2, it says, these people, what they'll do, they'll convert fields. They'll take them by violence. Watch, think about the people that's doing this. And houses. They take them away. So they oppress a man, his house, and what else? Even his heritage. So these people go look at a land, see people own it, and say, I want that land. I'm going to convert it, so we're going to kill everybody that's on the land. And then make a holiday about it and make everybody celebrate the holiday. Christopher Columbus Day.
We're talking about America.
Oh my goodness.
We talking about the mindset. The mindset.
Yes, sir.
Prophetically, that's why can't nobody take me out the scriptures. It identifies everything we need to know. Watch what these people do. It ain't just going to take their land and put a flagpole on and call it America now. Watch what it says it's going to do. I'm going to take it by violence. I'm going to take their house away from them. I'm going to oppress this man, his house, which is his the people within his house or his lineage, and also his heritage. I'm going to steal his heritage and become him.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you this, man. I don't want to just press him. I don't want to just press the people that's in his immediate generation. I want to take his whole nation's heritage and become it and claim it as my own. Zechariah 11:5. Zechariah 11:5. Whose oppressors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. And they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. And their own shepherds pity them not. So we see right here that these people, they'll call it a blessing to come over and oppress you. And say, well, God bless this land. Because we came over here, slaughtered the people that was here. And then brought another people over here and oppressed them all the way up until today. And we got God blessing on. Because this nation was a Christian nation. When?
What kind of Christian?
It's a Christian nation.
Okay.
Exactly.
So we see in the mindset. Watch this. Jeremiah 22. Whoa. Which is, ooh, go ahead, baby. You got a question?
What about the holidays we celebrate?
What you say, baby?
How come people don't know what holidays we celebrate?
You said, how come the people don't know about the holidays that we celebrate, which is the feast days? Now, you would think, baby, if people would just read the Bible and see. The feast day celebration, it's way more joyous and way more righteous and a lot more fun than any of the ones that we celebrate. But the reason we don't, because people's mind have been blinded. Because you have the God of this world, they use men to stand up and say that the feast days that we celebrate, that we shouldn't celebrate. That we just should celebrate the nation's holidays that we in. They saying we don't do that no more. That's part of this old stuff, so we shouldn't have to worry about that no more. Now, the people culture that it was for, we should definitely do it. But we're in a land that's not original to our own, so we can't make everybody in this land celebrate the feast days. You understand what I'm saying? But when we go back to the kingdom, baby, everybody gonna be celebrating the feast days, or what? They're gonna get booted out or kicked out of darkness. That answer your question? Okay. So let's keep moving. Jeremiah 22:13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness. The Bible say, whoa, judgment coming. Unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrong, that uses his neighbor's service without wages, and giving him not for what he worked for. Think about,
Whoa.
What's
that scripture? That's all I got.
That's Jeremiah 22:13. Ain't no way a blessing coming here. The Bible say, woe to a man that buildeth his house with unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrongdoing, that useth his neighbor's service without wages. Somebody gonna be in trouble. Somebody gonna be in trouble. And I think, and the Most High is about justice now. He's about justice. He talk more about justice than his love. And if they couldn't possibly pay us back what they owe us throughout the generation, that's why the Most High gonna have to be the one to get a reparation. Alright, so now not only do they take a person's land, their heritage. Watch Psalms 49:10-12. For he seeth that the wise man likewise. What did that say? For he seeth that a wise man die, likewise the fool. Okay. And a brutish man perish and leave their wealth to others. But he gonna tell you, these people, they know. Now most person will, the normal person would know, somebody said, in Jeremiah what? That's Jeremiah 22:13. But Psalms 49 says that a normal person would die and just know they can't go to the grave with what they got. But these people, they inward thought in verse 11 that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. So they call their what? Lands after their own name. So I'm a forever have what? Possession of you. Because even in my grave, I'ma still have your heritage. Why? Because you wear my name. And you call your name yourself based off the land. So the landmass gonna be named after me, where you put your feet on. So even though I'm dead, I'm still gonna show my property. And even your generation's name, I'm gonna have it. Showing what? No matter what you do, I still possess your heritage. That's why I still own you, because you what? Wear my name. That's the mindset the Bible talks about. Let's look at Obadiah. Obadiah 1:3-5. We finna move now. Obadiah 1:3-5. It reads, thus says the Most High concerning Edom. Remember, Edom is not just one person, but it's confederation, but he's working behind its confederation. So you have to look for his spirit to be able to find him throughout these nations. That makes sense. You can't look at skin color. Edom will be right in your backyard. We have heard a rumor from the Most High. An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. So I done made this nation Edom small among this confederation. So they're behind it. And thou art greatly despised. Watch this. But the pride of thy heart have deceived you. You got to be crazy if you think you can go against the Most High. The same thing that deceived Hasatan, right? His heart. That thou dwellest in the clefts of the rock. So he dwelleth in the clefts of the rock, right? What is this showing you? He's hiding behind the scenes. The clefts of the rocks. He's hiding behind the scenes. What? Controlling the confederation. Right? Whose habitations is high. That saith in his heart, who shall come and bring me down to the ground? Think about their mentality. They don't care. Their habitations is high. They don't care nothing about what the Most High think. Let's keep reading. Though thou exalt thyself thou like the eagle, their symbol would be an eagle, that thou set thy nest among the stars. What is that saying when they set their nest among the stars? Satellite system. That's why they say they dwellings, their habitation is high. What does that mean? When your habitation is high, you think about an eagle. An eagle can be way up in the sky and can see stuff all the way down on the ground, see his prey. So this system will have their habitation high. They nest among the stars. Satellites will do what? Control and watch everything we doing. And then give us stuff like Facebook, cell phones, all this type stuff. Now, we can't get away from it. Okay, you can delete your Facebook and they still got you. You can throw away your phone and they still got you. You can take your TV out and they still got you. You see what I'm saying? All you can do is trust in the Most High. That's why I don't even care no more. I just like, look, I'm just going to connect on Facebook. Whoever I need to connect with, YouTube, whoever I need to connect with, I ain't worried about it no more because the Most High going to have to do the protecting. But what? They said they nest among the stars as an eagle and how they look down to control everybody, watching everybody, surveillance around everything. And verse 5, thieves came to thee. It said, if thieves came to thee, and if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have just stolen till they had enough? If the great gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some that goes? How are these things of Esau searched out? So he's saying here, a normal robber, he'll just go out there and take a little bit. But you keep robbing and robbing. You got all the money in the world. You keep robbing and stealing. And tell us, well, they came over here and bombed, so we got to go over there and fight. But what we really want is their oil. Same thing. We're talking about the guy over there that was over there in what's the area that was where we sent out the missiles, the so-called help down because it was supposed to be blowing up his own people. Yeah, Syria and all that type of stuff, and Gaddafi going out there give Gaddafi a bad rap, talking about we had to go over there and kill him. All that stuff is what? Propaganda. Their reason to go over there and steal some more and get some more. All right, let's keep moving. All right, so one thing about it, we're going to look at weaponry and prophecy. We got about 10 minutes left. We're going to look at weaponry and prophecy, how the Most High allowed them to build up their weaponry, and how he's going to just destroy them because you ain't going to be able to handle nothing as spiritual as the Most High. But they're going to try because what? The pride of their heart has been lifted. We're looking at this system. Watch what it says. Listen to this. Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith to blow up the coals and the fire. I never understood this verse when I used to read it, but now I do. Behold, I have created the smith to blow up the coals and the fire, and that bringeth forth its instruments for its work. So we know back in ancient times, the blacksmith would do what? Beat the different things to make different instruments, different weaponry. And the Most High said, I created the smith to blow the coals in the fire and make an instrument for its work, and I have created the waster to destroy. So at one point, it's going to be like a blacksmith making different things as far as like swords and knives. And then you're going to have scientists that's going to be trying to come up with weapons that will lay a whole land waste. What they call weapons of what? Mass destruction. Waster that you can drop and it'll waste the whole land. Most I say I created both of them to do that because I want your pride to kill you. Isaiah, because he's going to have the people that's in their confederation warring against themselves and using weaponry against themselves that he's putting in their heart to do. Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of a warrior is without confused noise. So it's saying here, most of all the battles before was with confused noise. You have like, you take the different ones out there like Spartacus and different ones out there, they fighting with chains and whips and axes. So it has confound noise. And then you have another time come up where they start shooting. Now, Isaiah didn't know what he saw when he would hear bullets. So what did he call it? He called it confused noise because he's seen that in the spirit. And garments rolled into blood. So from the confused noise with the bullets and different things like that, the garments will be rolled into blood. But it shall be in this next time. So Isaiah seen the knives and the swords. Then he seen the bullets. But now he's seeing something else. But it shall be with, this next thing shall be with burning and what? Fuel of fire. So this is what? Weapons of what? During our time that he's seen during his time. Where he just called it what he's seen it. Confused noise. Bah, 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 bah. Now he's seeing fuel and fire. Let's keep going. Got about 8 minutes. I'm almost done. Malachi chapter 4. Because this is all the stuff that's going to be in the end time. And I'm going to have to make a part 2 out of this. Because we're finna wrap up. Malachi chapter 4. Does somebody want to read that?
What verse?
Verse 1. Now this is... Let me see something. Okay, yeah, got that on there. It ain't got what I want. I didn't put that, but it's all right. Somebody get Isaiah 63 for me. Isaiah 63. Somebody go ahead and read Malachi chapter 4 and 1.
For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble.
All right. So who coming to do this? The Most High. He's sending who?
His son.
His son. He let them get their little weaponries and fight among themselves. But then he coming. And what he going to do, Malachi 4 and 1?
Sorry, y'all.
Malachi 4 and 1, read that again.
For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Most High of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch.
Ain't going to be a root or a branch. That means I'm going to evaporate them. Ain't nothing going to be there. Now we look at that as some X-Men stuff. What is happening? He going to come when the Messiah returned. You might see some laser going through out his eyes. He said he's going to take vengeance with the sword of his mouth. Might be some coming out. Y'all, this ain't no fairy tale. He ain't, that's the prophet said that, the read verse 2. So he going to do this to the wicked, but watch what he going to do to us.
But unto you that fear my name shall the Son of righteousness arise with healing in his wings. And you shall go forth and grow up as calves of the stall.
So the people that he going to come for need healing. Verse 3.
And ye shall tread down the wicked.
And who going to do it? Wait a minute now.
The ones that grew up as...
Wait a minute. Now he going to come and just evaporate some people. Knock some people out. But he going to save some for us. Read that. Verse 2, it talks about he going to come with healing in his wings to those. The Son of Righteousness with healings in his wings shall go forth and shall, grow up as a...
Cow.
I can't hardly see it. A stall. In verse 3, it says, and ye shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be as ashes under the soles of whose feet? Your feet. In that day I shall do this, says the Lord of hosts. So we're going to be what? Changed in the twinkling of an eye. Not to go somewhere, never to come back again. When you change, you're going to have what? Your glorified body. And the Most High going to save something for us to do what? But you don't go to war before that change happens. Sit your butt down somewhere. Don't you go to war without that change. You know that's how you gonna go to war because Clark Kent and not Superman be trying to do something with your eyes and do something with your arms and ain't nothing happening. They thought the wicked just eating you up. You better sit your mind down somewhere. I don't care how bad you get. Sit down. Zechariah 14. Zechariah 14. Watch this. Zechariah 14 and 12. Watch what it says. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Most High shall smite. He coming to smite somebody. He mad. All the people that I have fought against in Jerusalem. Watch what's going to happen. Boy, this is some X-Men type stuff. Watch what's going to happen. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. That's a nuclear warfare. Weapons of mass destruction. That's the spiritual man. He ain't playing. He ain't playing now. Let's go to Isaiah 63.
Tell about the good life.
Just like that.
I ask that you leave time for questions.
Leave time for questions. Okay, we'll do that. I ain't gonna be able to see the question. You're gonna have to tell me what they're saying on your phone. All right, so let's go to Isaiah 63. Somebody read that for me. And 1.
Who is this that cometh from Edom?
Coming from Edom with what?
With thy garments.
What's on this garment? Is it paint? What is that? Let's keep reading. Is it juicy juice? He got juicy juice on his garment.
Yeah, right. With thy garments from Bosra. This that is glorious is in his apparel, traveled in the greatness of his strength.
So he coming glorious in his apparel, traveling with greatness of his strength. Keep reading.
I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thy apparel, and thy garment like him that treadeth in
the wine fat.
In the wine fat. I have trodden in the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me. So I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury. And their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment.
What's going to happen here, verse 4?
For the day of vengeance is in my
That's why I say don't worry about nothing. He said the day of vengeance have been in my heart. I just been waiting on the Father to tell me when to come. Because all this wickedness I consistently see. I'm sorry, you made me laugh. I consistently see that this day I've been waiting on, and I'm coming to pounce on the people, and their blood gonna be sprinkling on my garment. Edom and what? His confederation, the ones that does what? Rule the nations and everybody that's affiliated with him. The day of vengeance. Where I'm at? Where you at?
For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come.
And the year of my redeemed is come. That's why it says in Isaiah 61 to preach the acceptable year of the Most High, because it's a time period that's coming. Yeah, you can keep reading. Let's keep reading. Verse 5.
And I have looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore, my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I would tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. I will mention the loving kindness of my Lord, and the praises of the Lord, according to all that the has bestowed upon us, and the great goodness toward the house of Israel, which he has bestowed on them according to his mercies, and according to the multitude of thy loving kindness. For he said, surely they are my people.
Who are his people?
We are his people.
I thought he ain't got no people.
Israel.
I thought since Christ came, he ain't got no people no more. I thought he coming up to just save everybody. He ain't got no people no more. That's done away with. Who he say his people is?
Israel is his people.
All right. Israel is my people, and children does what? Surely they are my people. Children.
Okay, but he said, surely they are my people. Children that will not lie. So he was their savior.
So these children that his people ain't gonna have lying in their spirit. So you ain't coming up. He ain't coming for you. You might be the one that gets squashed if you playing around with it. Keep reading, verse 9.
And in all their affliction he was afflicted, and the angel of his presence saved them. In his love and in his pity he redeemed them, and he bare them and carried them all the days of old. All
right, that's good. Now this last one, we got some more, but we'll make a part 2. This last one, let's go to Zechariah 14 and 14. Now let's look at Judah helping them out. Let's look at Judah helping them out, and then we're going to close out, and we'll go from there. Zechariah 14 and 14, it says, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold, silver, apparel, in great abundance. And you can precept that also with Isaiah 60. And Josh got a great teaching on that. We'll get together on that. He got a great teaching on us being back in the land and all these type of stuff. So we'll get on that. All right, Zechariah 12, 5 through 6. Zechariah 12, 5 through 6. And the governors of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem shall be my strength of the Most High, and their Elohim. And that day will I make the governors of Yahudah like an hearth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in the shelf, and they shall devour all the people. So they're going to be like fire shut up in their bones. He said, I'm going to make them like fire on the wood, and a torch of fire like the shelf. So we're going to be changed, and some going to be upon us. And it says, they shall do what? Devour all the people round about, and on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem shall be inhabited again in their own place, even Jerusalem. So we will be fighting with Christ after he do his thing. Let us say he the only savior at first. Yeah, I ain't got no other savior with me. He said, I looked around when nobody doing this but me. Then I'm going to change y'all and let y'all come. And I'm going to save a little remnant so y'all can get them too for what they did to y'all. Because what? I got the day of vengeance in my heart. You don't need to have the day of vengeance in your heart right now. You sit down somewhere and keep looking up to your redemption, walking in righteousness and holiness.
This is a rehearsal.
Exactly. So we got any questions, comments, or concerns? We wanted to, again, we talked about here the beast, the ruler of the wicked in the beast system, how to identify who they are through a confederation of nations. Everybody good here? Questions, comments, or concerns? We about 3 minutes over. What we got over there? Ain't nobody asking no question. Anybody online got a question real quick? We ask you to go back to the video if you're just getting on. Look at those things. I don't know how the live feed did, but we will have this uploaded on YouTube real with no cutoff.
You gonna upload the files?
Yeah. I can upload the files to the group if you need the scriptures. Y'all just like Brother Brian Lewis said, y'all hold on and let the Most High finish his work. I seen that.
Okay.
Somebody said, hold on, I got one. Come on, Brother Brian. We finna close out. We're gonna have the benediction now. Come on here. All right, so what? Ain't nobody came up, and now we asked those online to forgive us. We do have babies here, and it's all good. We just letting them do their thing over there.
They gonna be fighting.
That's right. The babies, all right. All right. So if don't nobody have any thoughts on the activities at CERN, how that fits with end time. All right. Well, with CERN, A lot of that is Josh Field, but I just throw a little bit at it. That's another dimension that they're they're trying to look into and open up different portals. Now, when you in some movies, they'll tell you the truth that there's different portals that they can go to, even in the type of spirit realm right now, and see different things, right? And they're trying to open up a dimension, and a lot of those dimensions that they're trying to open up is not just where demons inhabit it, because demons roam the earth. So these ain't demons. These are what? Fallen angels, the father of demons that have been put in everlasting chains of bondage. So CERN is portals that they're trying to open up, and that's why when they did that, you see more wickedness start happening in the earth at a more rapid rate. So yeah, but all they doing is they just setting up for the Most High, because the more and more wicked that they get, and the more and more righteous that we get, we ushering in the kingdom. So, you look into what they're doing, but you don't allow fear to grip you. Because my main thing is I stay with prophecy. Are they working with fallen angels to fight against the Messiah? Oh, yeah. All the material, all the different stuff that they're coming up with, and this is how they're able to advance their weapons, because they're getting this stuff from fallen angels. So you definitely got to understand that the fallen angels trying to get them technology, and we will have another visitation if we ain't already having them from them. Because they could be some of your government officials. Now, I know we ain't going to say one of them Donald Trump, because he ain't got nowhere, unless he just being that stupid for just on purpose.
On purpose, right.
So he got to be a dumb and deaf demon talking to him.
Move up to Byron's question is a little bit above.
Byron question a little bit about. Okay, all right. Let's see. Byron, many loving Christians are struggling with the message of Hebrew identity. A dear friend said, "Don't hear Christ in the message." Now, they would always say that, because you got to remember that in Christianity, everything has to be engulfed and embedded with Christ. Now, we understand that, but you have different subjects in the Bible that it talks about different things. When I first did this breakdown and teaching, my main thing was I wanted to show the people that you was messed up in the covenant, and you needed to return, and the only way you're going to return is Christ. So we have to put a more emphasis on making sure that we let people understand that the way to return from the broken covenant is the Mashiach. The way to get all the promises of the covenant is the Mashiach also too. So it's the way that you have to form it, because it depends who your audience is. Somebody off the street, I can give them this message raw and they'll get it. And you got Christianity that has been layered with so many doctrines that you have to use and be wise the way you speak to them. And like Paul said, I became all so I can what? Win all. So I have to cater my message. I don't compromise it, but I cater my message to the listener. So what? Through all those layers of deception, they'll have an ear to hear me. So it's important to show them the importance of what Christ said, or Messiah said about these people. You see what I'm saying? Because the prophets and the Messiah said so many things about these people. And then I love to go to Paul and show them how much Paul said about this. You see what I'm saying? So you got to couple all that based off you can't say it the same way to everybody. Depends on what they've been through, the layers. Because what? The enemy have set up different things in Christianity to mess up our awakening. That's why we have a lot of these doctrines. When I say Christianity, I'm talking about this Western Christianity that we have over here. A lot of the doctrines you learn has been made up to fight against your awakening. So you have to have more patience with Christians, because they have layers of indoctrination that works against their awakening when they get here. So you have to be patient. Just same way the Yahudim or the Jews had back in the day when Paul and them was trying to give them the fullness of the Messiah. All right, so if this is it, that's all the questions. That's all the questions. They say all we hear. Okay. They say all we hear is identity. I know you covered this because I watch your ministry. Y'all brothers are extremely balanced with the Ruach. That's why, it's very important to have the Ruach and everything that you're doing. We got another question.
How can
Baby,
we best reach our spouses?
let little mama be out there so we can kind of Cause she all in the video like P. Diddy.
Oh,
Sorry, y'all, that's my baby.
the artists don't even get it.
Daddy can't even finish that question and answer. She all in the video. Dad said, Holly.
Look at me.
So I take that. If you don't want to hear that, you got to go to the Berean Bros. I'm just playing. All right, somebody got another question. What we got? I got more. Oh, Lord, Byron, you throwing them out there, ain't you? How can we best reach our spouses? Let me tell you this. The best way. Oh, Lord, the feed and cut off. Oh, it's dead. The best way to reach your spouses, it died on them. No, mine. Mine died. Nah, I'm going on here so they can come back and look at it. Live feed ain't going no more. But the best way to reach your spouses is by example. You can try to teach them all you want and shove it down their throat, but you have to allow the Ruach to lead you. And for those that don't know what the Ruach is, that's the Holy Spirit. He will lead and guide you into all your truth. Don't nobody know your spouse like the Holy Spirit knows. And sometimes you can be trying to force things on them too early that their eyes ain't seeing, that their ears ain't heard. Especially if you coming from a camp mentality, you saying, oh, we need to do this and we need to do that and we need to stop this and stop that. No, it takes time. And you need to make sure you have it yourself before you be trying to push somebody into it. You see what I'm saying? So the best way to bring them over is let them see your life changes. Allow them to see the things let them see your life changes. Let them see how this information is changing your character, changing who you are. Because people would do more based off what you do rather than what you say. So if your spouse see a change in your heart, a change in your life, you start being consistent with things according to this covenant, then it will make her interested. It'll make him interested in it. And the stuff, sometimes they'll be interested, then they'll have a wall block, say, I ain't going here. And you just got to be patient. Because the Holy Spirit knows what that person is thinking, what they've been through, and know what needs to be said. So main thing I would say is follow the Ruach. Allow him to tell you when to say something, because everything you see don't need to be said. Say that again. Everything you see don't need to be said. Some stuff you got to be quiet on. You noticed it, take it in prayer, and let the Holy Spirit do his job. The best thing me and my wife learned in our marriages is to shut up when the Holy Spirit say shut up. So if the Ruach tell you not to say nothing, don't say nothing. And you will win them by your lifestyle. So that's why I say take it slow, be careful. But we're going to end it right here. We got a lot of little babies sitting. It's all good. We're going to end it right here. We love y'all. Rebirth of a Nation, awaken, restore, and prepare. Huh? They got another question on there? What's the next question?
Do we throw away the transliteration of the name of Jesus?
That's on, that's what now. Do we throw away the transliteration of the name of Jesus? Are they asking, do we throw away Jesus' name?
I guess so.
Okay. I would say this. It depends on, I can't tell you what to do. And you have to get out of the mentality of a man telling you what to do. You don't ask me what you should do about your personal relationship with the Most High. I give you the wisdom based off the understanding, and you allow the Spirit to lead you. So should we throw away the transliteration of Jesus? You do what the Spirit leading you to do. For me and mine, when it comes to our intimacy in our home, we only use his Hebraic name in the Hebraic way. See what I'm saying? Or even if we use the English, now we use Joshua because we have understanding on that. But that's me because what? I did the research and the prayer and the fasting. If you ain't did none of that, don't make no move until the Most High what brings you into it. You listen to the information, listen to the understanding, and you can't do what you do at the house everywhere. Sometimes you will go somewhere and offend people because they don't understand that. So you got to be okay with going somewhere and saying Jesus sometimes. Because what? That's what's known over here in this land. So whatever the Most High leads you and your family, you follow that. And then so you might have some that want to be hard-nosed everywhere. That's on you. But you always got to be thinking about, am I affecting somebody to this awakening, or am I repelling people because of what something I want to push? So it's important when it comes to that. You pray, you study, and you allow the Ruach to lead you and your family on what to do. I'm just telling you what we do. Any more questions? All right. For the question and answer part, you go back to it. I can probably chop this video up so you can have that part. But again, Rebirth of a Nation, awaken, restore, and prepare our vision. Shalom, and we'll see you soon.
Some devil don't want understanding of people